You can just say what happened first. And the day that you went in, until you came out, everything that happened.
My name is Jack Stik. I was deported from Hungary in December 7, 1944 to Bergen-Belsen concentration camp. We were there, about 2,000 young boys. We were brought in to work in the barracks to help for the older people there. There was two lagers in Bergen-Belsen. There was a Sonderlager and there was a Vernichtungslager. I was lucky, and I got into the Sonderlager, which we got in there the next day. They took us in. Right away, I'm coming from Budapest. I was there in Zwangsarbeit, labor camp. Our job was to clean the barracks, to bring in the food from the kitchen, whatever they were giving, the soup. And we had there a Jewish fellow who he was the commander, a guy by the name of Fisher, I believe was his name, from Yugoslavia someplace. And he used to take us, he says, today you go to work, tomorrow you go. And we were getting, in the morning we were getting a black coffee. And around 3 o'clock we had a soup. That soup was from a Dergamisa. That soup was made from some kind of beets and some kind of green stuff, which you had to swim to find a beet. It was mostly warm water. And we also used to get, sometimes, like every second day or every third day, we used to get a piece of bread, slice of bread. And the day when we were working, we got like a portion and a half of that soup, which was very good. It was a little warm water, but there was a beets or two in it. I was there till, and that was going on like this for all the time. I was there till April, till the end of April in Bergen-Belsen. And then they put out a sign, who wants to go. They need some people, they're going to send it to the Schweiz for exchange for medicine. And whoever wants to go was getting bread, a whole bread, in a can of meat. So naturally everybody was putting his name down. I was lucky, and I put my name down, and 2 or 3 days later, we got the bread and that can of meat, and they took us from Bergen-Belsen to the train station, which was a distance like 7-8 kilometers. We got there to the train. There was an empty train, and there was naturally assessment going with us. We get into the trains. There was some it was a long line. It must be about 25 or 3,000 people in that train. And we were riding like 2 days, 2.5 days. We were riding and stopping and riding. The bombs were going all over. Mostly in the nighttime we used to ride the train. In the daytime we used to stand still. And we thought that we are going to the Schweiz to be exchanged that the way they taught us, that we're going to be exchanged for medicine. We were riding in the train till May the 5th. One morning, around 5 o'clock, the train was standing still. Me and my few of my friends. We were all the time together, like 4 years together. We were together in the Zwangsarbeit, and we were standing all the time together. One of my friends looked out the window, and he sees that there is no assessment by the train, and the locomotive wasn't there either. Which you start to be one says to the other, looks like they run away, they left us here alone. And we were waiting for a while, for half an hour or so, and then we opened up the doors. The doors were not locked, but closed but not locked. We opened up the doors, and we looked and we see there is nobody there. All the assessment run away with the locomotive. And the train was standing there, so we ran down from the train. On one side was a water, like a small water. On the other side was a little, there was trees, like a little forest. We grabbed our things, whatever we had left from the bread and from that piece of can. We were riding approximately about 4 days. We were riding around in the train, and me and my 3 friends, which we got liberated together, went into that little forest, and we were sitting there and waiting what's going to happen. Then the other people realized too that nobody's there, and everybody started to run. And about 3 hours later, a helicopter was coming down and throwing signs and saying to us, this is the American U.S. Army, and you are liberated, and we're going to be here soon and take care of you. Which in a couple hours, they arrived, Jewish chaplain arrived, with trucks and with jeeps, and they spoke in all languages, Yiddish and Hungarian and German, and they told us that they know about us, they were watching us all the time, because right away, as we were traveling in the train, there was bombing very badly. We, thank God, nobody got hurt. They were watching us, and they know everything about us, and we shouldn't worry, we are free people now, and they're going to take care of us. And a couple hours later, they arrived, a lot of trucks, American trucks, and they took us to a place by the name, we were liberated, was near Magdeburg, was 16 kilometers near Magdeburg. They took us to a place by the name of Hillersleben, which it used to be a country place for the SS officers. They used to go there for the summer. It was beautiful villas there, and they had everything emptied out. The Germans, they had to leave, and the state is there. And the next day they put up a kitchen there and a synagogue and a hospital, and we started to get food. I'm sorry to say, a lot of my friends passed away there because they eat the food which they were not used to it, and they got sick. And we were liberated. We were there for about 6 weeks. And one morning, the Americans put out a sign that this zone is going to become Russian, that they cannot take us home now because trains are not running, but whoever wants to go with them, like young people, young boys and young couples who had the strength to go, that they're going to take us to a different camp to the American zone, because this zone is going to be a Russian zone. The Russian is going to take this over. And some of them went away, and some of them remained there. I remained there for, I wanted to stay with my friends there. Some of them were sick. And about a week or 10 days later, the Russians come over and took over the camp, and there was the Hakfetsuris there again. They don't give us food, but we used to get from the American. And they took us from there to another Siedlung. That Siedlung has to be emptied out. They took us from there. And I saw that this is no good. I got friendly with one Russian officer. I don't remember what his rank was, a captain, I believe a captain. I had some American cigarettes and I had some whiskey. I told him I give him whatever I have. If there is a possibility, he should get us a ride in a train of the trains, of the Russian trains where they were going, till I reached Dresden. Because from Dresden there was going a train already to Czechoslovakia. And I made up with that officer, and he got me out, and I got to Dresden. From Dresden I got a train to Prague, and I arrived to Prague, and there I find some of my family. I find two of my sisters in Prague, and that was the end of my story. Okay. I also want to mention that I got beat up three or four times very badly when we were carrying the food. The food we were carrying was two boys. We used to go like in a chain from the kitchen to the barracks, which it was approximately like 3-4 city blocks distance. And by the kitchen there was some potatoes, and I happened to catch a potato, and I put it into my pocket. And one of the salesmen saw that I picked up something, and he let me go away. Then when I got back to the lager, he searched me and he found a potato. So he was beating me with a piece of wood over my head, which I still have in my head, split. And he asked me, who do I know, who gave me that potato? I said, nobody gave it to me. I find it on the road going from the kitchen, carrying it. He says, I'm lying. But the guy who was our commander, he said, no, this boy is an honest boy. He doesn't say any lies. He picked it up. He found it on the road, which it was not even a potato. It was like a half of a potato. And that was one time. Another time, that was about a week later, a week or 10 days later, after I felt better already. When this assessment beat me, I was sick for a couple of days. I couldn't move. I was laying in bed, and my friends used to take care of me. They used to bring me the soup whenever they got it. A couple of days later, I went back to work, and I find in the kitchen somebody who I know. There was boys and girls working, also halfling Jewish boys and girls working in the kitchen. Somebody recognized me from the next town from where I come, and he says to me, are you Jack Stik? I said, yes. She says, you know who I am? I said, no. She says, my name is so and so and so. She says, you come here every day? I said, yes, I come here every day to pick up the food, every day or every second day. She says, tomorrow I'll have something for you prepared. Be careful, I'll give you something. I was very happy to hear, and next day when I got to the kitchen, which she had prepared 3 potatoes for me. And this time I was lucky, and nobody saw me bringing in the potatoes, putting in my pocket. I got in. But inside, I was so happy. We supposed, after we put down the food there, right away that food we used to bring was like big garbage cans, metal cans, used to be like 50 or 60 liter for that soup. And we used to go in chains, like 20 or 30, so that we had to stop. It was like twice we were allowed to stop, or 3 times. It was pretty heavy because we had no strength, because we were all hungry. This time, when I got in with the 3 potatoes, I come into my friends and I said, we're going to have a picnic tonight. We have 3 potatoes. but they were not cooked, they were raw potatoes. So we were eating them just the way I got them, raw. We cut them to little pieces and we were eating them. And there was many times that one close friend of mine was caught. He got a few potatoes, and he was caught by the SS, and he was shot. And they shot him. That was like early in the morning. It was still dark. It must be about 3, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. And the next day, and the same day, I'm sorry, his body was laying on between the barracks. We had like a big place, and we all had to go around there, and we all had to watch him dead there. He was bleed for, and there was assessment was saying, see, this what's going to happen to you, whoever we're going to get caught that you stealing some potatoes or some food. They kept him there for 2 days, and we had every hour we had to go around and look at him. We had to march around till finally the next day they took him away. And what happened? There was also a crematorium in Belgium, which we didn't know in the time when I was there. We find out later that they used to take the people who died, they used to burn them there in that crematorium. Naturally, a lot of people passed away in the barracks because there was a lot of older people there. And there used to come a wagon that they used to throw the bodies on, and we were allowed to go till the tower. And there, from there, we closed it, and we don't know where they took them, or what they took them, or what they did with them. But we find out later that there was a crematorium, and they burned them there. I forgot to mention, they told us when we left Bergen-Belsen that they are taking us to the Schweiz for exchange for medicine. But after we got liberated, a couple hours later, the American U.S. Army find the commander who was in charge of our train with a couple assessments, and they find the documents that they supposed to take us to Theresienstadt, which we supposed to be there all burned in the crematorium. But thank God we never got to Theresienstadt, and we got liberated. There was 400 of our friends who come with that transport. They died there because there was a big epidemic. There was black flag typhus, which they died there. There was a hospital put up by the American Army. There were doctors there and nurses. They did everything what they could for us, which we were very grateful to them. And that's it. I lost my parents, my father and my mother and 3 sisters in the concentration camp, which my mother and 3 of my sisters went to the gas chamber in Auschwitz, which my other sisters who come home, we were 8 children altogether. I'm the oldest one, and I have 4 sisters living in Israel, and my other sister saw my mother and the 3 small sisters. We went to the gas chamber. My father was taken to labor camps to Poland. I don't know exactly where, but approximately one of a friend of my father got liberated, and he got home, and he told us when my father died from hunger. He was sick, and he died. They say that he died from weakness, which we approximately know when it is, so we kept a day for the yard side. The Yurtzeit for my mother and for my three sisters, you know exactly, because my sisters were there, which is in Jewish Kuvuf ear, when they took them to the gas chamber. There is a lot to say, but it's a long time, and I trying to not to think too much about it. I'm living here now in the USA for 25 years. I have a family of my own, and it's a very difficult to talk about it and to explain because it hides. You gonna replay this? No?
How old were you when you were drafted to the labor force?
21 years.
When were you drafted?
In October 1941.
Did you know you were to serve this forced labor in the Hungarian army?
He took all the Jews, not to the army, but he took it to Zwangsarbeit, labor camp.
And so you didn't know you were going to serve as a forced... Did you know you were going to serve as a forced labor?
Yes.
You knew. Describe the unit in which you served. How many Jews?
The unit was 7 per 2. There was about 2,400 boys, all the same age. And then we were shipped to different cities. We were all over Europe. We were in Yugoslavia, all different labor camps. We never stood longer in one camp than 3-4 months, 4 months, 5 months. We were shipped from one country to the other. We were in Yugoslavia, in Hungary, in Romania, in Czechoslovakia, in Poland, all over.
Who were the officers in charge?
There was many officers in charge. There was the last one, if I remember his name, was Leonard Laszlo. He was Főhadnagy in Hungarian. He was in charge. He was the last one before they took us to the concentration camp.
Were there non-Jews among the forced labor soldiers?
No, we were all Jews there. Only the not Jews was the one who were watching us. We were all Jewish boys in the labor camp.
What was the attitude of the officers to the Jews? Relate cases showing a positive or negative or indifferent attitudes.
There was all kind. There was some good ones. Most of them were bad. So long we did our job, we worked hard. We got the food. We were working like 8 hours a day, and we got 3 meals a day. And they didn't bother us too much. So long we did what we supposed to do. It was all depends on the officer who was in charge. If the officer who was in charge was all right, then it was okay. Most of the work we used to do is for the Germans. We were building air forces, and we were building roads. We were building barracks, and they give us out a quota. If we fill in the quota, we got our meal, and everything was okay.
Do you know any specific cases of the attitudes, or of what attitude they showed?
They were anti-Semitic. They hate us. They hate the Jews. But we were all good laborers, so there's nothing what they did for us, because they were very anti-Semitic. The Hungarian some of the Hungarians were even worse than the Germans. But some of them were not too bad.
When were you sent to Russia? You weren't sent to
I was not in Russia. I was in Poland, in Romania, in Yugoslavia, not in Russia.
So, where did you work in the camps?
In what cities?
Yeah.
I was in Újvidék, Novi Sad, Beszterce, Miskolc, Jolsva. I can't remember them all. It was 3.5 years, it was a long time. Romania, Beszterce, I said it already, Ragla, and the Bachka we were. And before they took us to the concentration camp, we were in Budapest, which is Budapest. We were working there under a German commander, building something for the Air Force. That was the last place from where they took us to the concentration camp.
But you weren't in Russia at all?
No, I was not in Russia.
Relate in detail your experiences on the front in each of the places you were sent to. Tell us about meeting with the local population, local Jews or German soldiers. What was the attitude of the Hungarian officers? How high was the mortality among the men? Did you see anything of the destruction of the Jewish communities? Can you tell us about it?
Till 1943, it was not bad. After work, Sunday, we could go out for a couple hours, and we saw Jewish families. For example, when we were in Raglan, Beszterce, but in 1944, we were in Újvidék. This is Yugoslavia. That's when that was right after Passover, when they took all the Jews in the ghettos, and that was the end. After that, we were not allowed to communicate with no private people. We couldn't go out anymore. We were strictly after work. We had to be in the barracks. We were watched by the Hungarian soldiers who used to go out to work with us. We were not allowed to go after work, no places.
What was the attitude of the Hungarian officers?
No good. They were very anti-Semitic. As a matter of fact, the last one we had there, not the big officer. The big officer didn't bother with us too much, but there was like szakaszvezető. They were the big shots there. We had a szakaszvezető by the name of Ken. We used to call him Keitel. He was like a general, and for every little thing what he could do bad things this he did. The big officer actually didn't bother too much with this. He was in charge, but we didn't see much of him. We only saw the cadet who used to go out with us to work every day. The commander which we call the Század parancsnok in Hungarian, him we didn't see too much of it. It was bad. It was very, very anti-Semitic. They used to do all kind of tricks with us and all kind of things. We weren't allowed to have anything.
Did you meet with the local population, the Jews or the German soldiers in there?
No. We were not allowed to leave our barracks after work. During the work, we were not allowed to. We were not allowed to speak to nobody. We don't have anybody that we could speak to, just between us.
How high was the death rate among the men?
In the labor camp?
Yeah.
Not bad. There was from our group, I think 3 died. No, 4.
Did you see anything of the destruction of the Jewish communities?
No. Where we were stationed, we couldn't go out, and that was out from the town. We were living in a barrack. We had no community with no civil people.
And you weren't captured by the Russians?
No.
Were you in the Ukraine? No.
Yes, I was.
You were in the Ukraine?
Yeah, I was in the Carpathen.
Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, we were working there. We were working in the Carpathen, which is not far from where I originally come. We were. The name of the town is Yasin. A little further up, we were there. Our job was we were loading on the train that lumbers. That was our job. But we didn't have any community with the people because we were living out from the town, far away. Has no communication with any civil people.
You left Hungary, yeah? You left Hungary?
I was taken from Hungary. See, I come from Czechoslovakia, but that was occupied by Hungary. We occupied it in 1939, and till the liberation was Hungary.
If you came back to Hungary, please describe your evacuation flight, the fate of your fellow workers, and the attitude towards you during the retreat of the Hungarians in charge, and your experiences after your return from...
I never got back to Hungary. I never want to see it again. I would never want to see Hungary again. I hate it as much as Germany, even worse. After liberation, I got to Czechoslovakia. I was living there for a couple of months, and then I went back to the States. I was never in Hungary back.
And you said...
In the time when we were in the Zwangsarbeit, we don't know nothing what was going on, that they took Jews from Poland and they took them to concentration camps. It was unbelievable till we got our own experience, till we find out later that they're taking people to Auschwitz and to Birkenau. But in the time when we were in Hungary and we were in Yugoslavia, we don't know what was going on. There was we had no communication with private Jewish people because we weren't allowed. There was strict, very strict. After work we had to sit in the barrack, and that we don't know much what was going on. As a matter of fact, we don't know nothing at all what was going on. Even in the concentration camp. Then I was, we don't know what was going on till after we find out, till after we got liberated.
Is there anything special that you want to say about the places where you work? Something special happened or something?
Horrible places, one worse than the other. There's nothing good what I could say about it. Except when we were in Miskolc. In Miskolc, when we were about that was in 1941 and 1942. We got there, I got into the Zwangsarbeit in 1941 in October. The Petervásárhely, there they give us like for 4 weeks, they give us like the soldiers, kiképzés. And then we got the Miskolc. That was our first job. We got the Miskolc to the airport that we were working there. In Miskolc, some days we used to get out. We, for good behavior, they let us out for a couple hours, like from 1 till 6. By 6 we had to be back. Sunday we weren't working. Only 6 days a week. There we got in contact with Jewish people, but they didn't know from nothing. Hungarian didn't know from nothing. They were so Magyar, they were so Hungarian, they couldn't believe what was going on. And Miskolc was not bad. We had the same food that the army had. the same. And after that we got into the Yolshua, which that's part of Czechoslovakia. There wasn't living too many Jews. There was a couple Jews living in town, but our barracks was about a mile and a half or 2 miles, kilometer, excuse me, away. We also used to go out once in a while, but nobody knew what was going on, and we were blind. We were so fooled. Nobody knew what was going, what they were doing with us. Till after the liberation, what we find out what was going on. Even when we were 1944, even when we were in Budapest already, in Budapest, we don't know what was going on. If I would know what was going on, I certainly would run away or did something. As a matter of fact, I had a friend from my own town. He's in Israel. He's alive, thank God. He find out that I'm in that Sazot in 7/2. He come out once. He was dressed as a Nilosh, as a Hungarian officer, but he was Jewish. He had Irish papers, and he told me if I want to run away, he could take me out. But it was like if one disappears, then every 10 boy they was shot. So one was watching the other. So I then won. We were there like about 130, 140 boys. I could have disappeared, and I shouldn't have to go to the concentration camp. But I don't want to have it on my conscience that over me we should shot 14 boys. So I said, what is going to happen to the 130 boys, or the 140? Same thing is going to happen to me which thank God I survived, and I'm here.
Anything else?